Okay, here we go. Incoming snow and a dramatic drop in temperatures. That is what we have to look forward to today. You ready for it? Welcome in. Thanks for joining us at 4. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence, and if we're not ready for it, well, we better get ready for it. It is an impact alert day. That means some weather changes are coming up, and you need to know. Meteorologist Sean Ash is here with us, and he's been walking us through it, keeping us prepared.
Yeah, you know, look, we all get the cold. Some of us will get some accumulating snowfall coming off of Lake Michigan. So far, we haven't had much more than a dusting, but it's the temperatures that are dropping and the expected snowfall as we go through the evening here. I mean, a lot of folks went to work, temperatures in the 40s. Going to be a rude awakening when you head out the door. Let me show you what's happening here. We're down into the 20s now. In fact, 25 this hour in Indianapolis, 27 in Carmel, Noblesville at 25. A lot of cloud cover. There's a lot of blue on live Doppler 13 radar. The darker shades where it's actually coming down. There's also a lot of areas that aren't seeing too much right now, but you can definitely see the flow of the snow coming in from the northwest. That wind is now tapping into Lake Michigan, and the cold air itself is going to squeeze out some snow showers, but the lake will also do it as well. Here are the current readings, all of us below freezing now, and wind chills getting into the single digits already. So it is going to be a needle-like evening. Mentioned the wind, that's the winter storm warning. That does include South Bend. There's going to be 1 or 2 dominant bands that will come down the pike here. We've adjusted the forecast just a little bit, not too much, but we do want to include Kokomo and Logansport in Peru and a 2 to 4 inch potential with that band that we talked about. Arcadia toward Muncie, Hartford City, maybe a 1 to 2 inch accumulation, and the metro is going to range from just a coating in spots to maybe as much as an inch. It won't take a whole lot of snowfall overnight tonight into tomorrow morning because the temperatures will continue to drop into the teens early tomorrow morning. So some slick spots around and possibly some school disruptions early Thursday morning. This is the first chance of several in the 7-day of snowfall. More on that ahead in a few minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Sean. And you don't want to get caught out in the cold alone, which is why you should download the Doppler 13 weather app so you can stay ahead of this changing forecast and track some of these temperature changes as well as the snowfall. There's no excuse not to have it, folks. It's free. You can download it in your phone's app store, and it's useful.
We are taking a closer look today at the impact government funding cuts are having on child care centers here in Indiana. This is a story we've been following for months.
Our Matthew Foltz has an update now on what some child care programs are doing to keep their doors open and how some state lawmakers are also trying to help.
Good afternoon. They said good afternoon.
Here at Judah Ministries.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Miss Alicia Jackson and her staff are making sure these students are well taken care of.
We opened our doors in February of 2003.
A long-standing daycare on the city's west side aiming to be a relief for low-income families. Now one of hundreds of daycares in the state needing some relief of their own.
The CCDF cuts have been horrendous for us.
CCDF, the Indiana Child Care Development Fund, saw cuts last summer. Jackson says they felt the impact.
Our budget is down $1.5 million in reference to the cuts.
On top of that, they decided to take pay cuts.
We've taken a humongous cut in our pay so that we don't lose the outstanding teachers that we have.
But Judah Ministries says they're grateful to still be open. According to the Indiana Association for Education of Young Children, at least 200 daycares closed across Indiana since the CCDF cuts.
It's about the investment, investing in human capital for the state of Indiana.
It's now why Indiana State Representative Greg Porter came up with House Bill 1026 to take money from the state's Financial Opportunity and Growth Fund and move it to the CCDF.
In that piece of legislation, there was $300 million set aside for Division of Child Services, Department of Corrections, and Family and Social Services Agency. So that money is there.
Now the bill just has to get a hearing.
We're hoping that Chairman Thompson will hear the bill. However, you know, he's always a little skittish about hearing things.
It's a bill that Jackson also hopes passes to help so many families and children in need.
We would like for others to help us so that we don't have to solely rely on CCDF funding.
Reporting here in Indianapolis, I'm Matthew Foltz, 13 News.
And we have done a series of stories on child care cuts and their local impact over the last several months. You can head to our website, WTHR.com, and you'll even find a link that'll take you to a dashboard. And it just breaks down how much money each county is losing per week as a result of these recent cuts. So it's something that we have been covering. We'll continue to cover it. So stay along with us. Also happening tonight, Governor Mike Braun will give the annual State of the State speech before a joint session of the Indiana General Assembly. And this is going to be his second as governor.
The entire House and Senate will be there along with special guests. They'll be up in the gallery of the House chamber. And this is the governor's chance every year really to highlight successes over the last year and then talk about goals for the year ahead. I spoke with Indiana Capitol Chronicle editor Nikki Kelly today about what we can expect coming up in just a few hours. What are Hoosiers going to learn tonight, you think?
Well, I think what the governor will say, as you mentioned, is first he's going to talk about the successes, what he deems successes under his administration, whether it be public safety or the economy and businesses growing here. But then we also will hear a few things that he wants to get behind in this session. We only have a few weeks left of it, but you know, they still got a lot on their plate, and so he's staking out a few areas he wants to see some improvement in.
We are coming off of the big debate over congressional redistricting. It did not go the way the governor had hoped. Do you expect him to touch on that at all, or is he moving on at this point?
Yeah, I really don't expect him to. I think, you know, in order for them to get done what they need to get done this year, they need to move past that, especially some hard feelings still going on, especially with the Senate and the Republicans. He specifically targeted, saying they need to be primaried. One thing I think that we're all waiting for from the speech is we still have gotten no legislative agenda from the governor, so we're hoping to hear what his priorities are for the session. Usually by now we've had a press conference and they've laid out kind of the bills that they want to push or the things they want to see changed. So I'm really looking forward to hearing that part of it.
Why do you think that hasn't happened yet?
I think honestly a lot of oxygen was taken out of the room with redistricting. Sometimes we would usually hear that stuff back in like late December, but obviously we had a lot going on in December with redistricting. And because they're cutting the session shorter to make up for that time they spent working, I mean, the session's like a third of the way done already.
You can watch tonight's State of the State address from your TV or other device because we're going to stream it live starting at 7:30. You can watch it on WTHR Plus, which, as you hopefully know by now, is a free download on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. And then our State House reporter Emily Longnecker will have a recap as well as the Democratic response coming up on 13 News at 11. Now to a story that's getting a lot of attention from Morgan County. We're learning new details about what exactly happened last Friday night when a Mooresville officer hit and killed a pedestrian.
Brendan Schaff spoke with the police chief as the internal and external investigations come to a close.
This is Indiana Street in Mooresville behind me. That's the area where that tragic accident happened Friday evening, where a 23-year-old pedestrian was hit and killed by a Mooresville police officer. We now know the identity of that pedestrian who died.
The victim was ID'd by the Morgan County coroner as 23-year-old Nicholas Horning. There were 2 investigations into what happened the night he was hit, and both are now complete. An internal investigation was done by Mooresville Police to see if the officer followed department policy, and an external investigation was done by the Morgan County Serious Crash Investigation Team. Mooresville Police Chief Kerry Buckner says that the officer is currently on administrative leave. The findings of the internal investigation will be reviewed by the assistant chief and 3 lieutenants. As for the external investigation, evidence will be presented to the Morgan County prosecutor to make a charging decision. Buckner described what happened the night of the accident.
He was coming from the liquor store that was there, and he darted in front of the officer as the officer was traveling. And the officer was actually trying to find a car that he had seen speed by in front of the police department here.
The internal investigation was completed on Wednesday, and a final recommendation will be made by Buckner, which he expects to make by Friday. The prosecutor is expected to review the external investigation's findings on Monday. Brandon Schaff, 13 News.
And in Marion County right now, prosecutors are taking a closer look at the murder cases they handled last year. How many went to trial, and they're noticing some trends.
Prosecutor Ryan Mears tells us out of 42 murder trials, all but 4 landed a conviction. that filed 86 new murder cases in Marion County last year. 26 of the suspects charged were teenagers. More than half of the new cases were people with no or non-violent criminal histories. Mears says most cases filed stemmed from disputes or revenge, and he called that an alarming trend.
People are getting into arguments, people are getting into fights over dumb things. I mean, we literally had someone who lost their life over someone honking a horn. These are the types of incidents that too oftentimes result in gun violence.
We've reached out to other counties here in central Indiana to compare conviction rates. We'll let you know when we hear back.